All right, pretty great Sunday night football game, I thought, to cap off an interesting week. This was a fun game, I thought. I thought that the Ravens and Bengals definitely had their positives and their negatives. I got to make a video about Lamar and the good and bad he had, but this will be a video about Joe Burrow and the good and bad of the Bengals offense as a whole. Let's start off with this play. I think this will be a good example of really what was happening to the Bengals all game and why they struggled. So what we're going to see here is that it's actually a bit of a disguise, but not a crazy one. It's going to be a cover two man, and that's kind of a lot of what we saw with the Ravens is they're playing two safeties. They'd play a decent amount of zone. When they would play man, they make sure it's two safeties deep, and it would usually be on a third down where they don't have to worry about a run. That's what they were doing. It was a very cautious approach, which, we saw the Ravens do this last year against Kansas City, where Kansas City was constantly beating them when they would blitz, so they said, let's stop doing that. Well, last year, the Bengals constantly beat them when they played single safety high coverages, so now they're putting two safeties deep. They're learning from their mistakes. That's what good teams do. Even with a different defensive coordinator, they're still learning from their mistakes. As you see, Burrow doesn't have anyone to throw to right away. There's going to be some contact due to a good twist, so that's the other aspect, is getting pressure while still only setting four obviously always helps, but, Chase maybe could have gotten open regardless, but it wasn't so simple as Burrow knew exactly where to throw to right away. So all that stuff working together to create some dysfunction for Cincinnati. Like, this play is going to be another one where I'm not even going to break down the whole play, because all I really want you to watch is look at the Baltimore Ravens players in coverage that you see on the screen. So this is a 3rd down and 12. So again, the Ravens of years past are setting the house here. It seems like they're blitzing. They're making sure Burrow has to get rid of the football quickly. That's not what they're going to do here. Watch the players in coverage. I mean, look at how far back they go right when this play begins. They're totally okay with Burrow throwing it shallow. He doesn't throw it shallow. He ends up getting sacked anyways. This is kind of one of those examples that I talk about of, guys getting open can actually help protect the quarterback almost as much as a good offensive line does. Statistically, that's true, that a good receiving core prevents sacks almost as well as a good offensive line does. It's precisely because of plays like this. Nothing was open, largely due to the 3rd down and 12 as well. Hard to get someone open down the field. Burrow holds onto the ball for too long, eventually takes the sack, and also the pressure got there as well, so it all works together for Baltimore. Now, going over to a play like this, the Bengals were still able to get stuff going, even when they were struggling their most, especially the few times we would see something like this, which is a single safety deep coverage. This is where Cincinnati was at their best. They were able to get stuff going here, and this is an example. It's actually going to be, an unlikely hero on this play. Watch Burrow make a throw that the Ravens were okay with giving up. It's going to be a pass to Mike Thomas. Okay, you don't love to give this up, but on a 1st and 15, giving up 12 yards, it's not ideal. You'll live with it. That's kind of their mindset, is we'll take these being the ways we lose instead of 50-yard touchdowns being the way we lose. The issue is you have to make a tackle. Thomas gets away from that tackle. Peters was not able to make the tackle, and because of that, it ends up being a 33-yard gain. So, again, a good play by Cincinnati, but it felt like Baltimore was still okay with that because it's kind of a broken play. They're forcing Cincinnati to have to make great plays to pick up explosives, and sometimes make great plays just to pick up 10-yard gains, which is what they will live with because, it's way better than the alternative of their great plays turn into 60-yard touchdown. Now, again, there were other ways that Cincinnati was beating them. Something like this, which would lead to their first touchdown. It's going to be, as in Cincinnati's first touchdown, it's a zone coverage play. You have Hayden Hurst basically trying to get into a gap in coverage, and Chris Collinsworth even said on the broadcast, which is a good point. It's like the Ravens just aren't used to zone coverage, and it feels like the less zone coverage you run, the worse you are at it. The teams that are really good at zone tend to get better as the season goes on because they're, they're a team that you just kind of learn how your teammates operate. You learn, okay, you typically get this much, I get this much. You learn how to communicate. That's how it works. The Ravens don't do this as much, so it makes sense that they're going to be a little bit more sloppy and give up a bit more gaps in coverage. Look, as you see, Burrow takes the snap, and he is going to find Hurst, who's really wide open on this play. So, good play by the Bengals, and to me, this is just kind of an example of actually what the Ravens did well was which was not put themselves in this position too often where the Bengals knew what coverage was coming. Yeah, they play a lot of quarters coverage in this game, but then they play cover 2, then they play cover 2 man. They would constantly be mixing it up while still maintaining 2 safeties deep for a lot of it so that they could kind of still fool Cincinnati. So on this play, Hurst is going to make, really just an incredible play. But again, that's the thing. The Bengals are having to really work to get these plays going. So Hurst is able to, it's a great play by him. He's able to get into the end zone for a touchdown. That's definitely a very good play. But again, Baltimore totally living with these types of plays. But then into some more individual misfires by the Bengals. Something like this was just it's just a blunder by Burrow, which is, it's weird. He's turning the ball over way more this year than he did last year. Last year he had a lot of turnovers, but there was a lot of I thought he got very unlucky that year, whereas this year it feels like he's earning some turnovers. This is an earned turnover, certainly, where the concept actually makes a ton of sense. You run the ball a lot, and one of the things that drives me crazy about Zach Taylor sometimes is it feels like he sets up the run and then doesn't take any advantage of it ever. Like, he'll run the ball a bunch of times to set up a perfect play action, but then he never runs play action, which makes me wonder, why are you spending so much time running the football when you have this great passing attack? Although, this game a little bit different. The passing attack is weakened without Higgins. That's more of just a general thought I have about Zach Taylor. But on this play, you have a receiver running over the middle. The play action can bring linebackers in, and then you can throw over the top of them. Look at how when Burrow takes the snap and runs this play action, it's going to be Patrick Queen who has his back turned. And this is why Burrow is making the throw. He can see Queen, he can read the number, right, or read the name on the back of his jersey, right? He knows who that player is. He now knows, okay, if you're not looking towards me, I can throw the ball past you, which is true. That's actually very, much what he should be thinking, but you got to get it there quickly. Look, Burrow just kind of waits too long. By the time he finally throws it there, Queen was already turned around. And Queen was turned around when Burrow let go of the ball. So that's just a mistake from Joe Burrow. I don't really think there's any other way to describe it other than a mistake. And that's an unfortunate one there because you just had the momentum. Lamar missed that 4th down play, and then you give it the ball right back to them. The Ravens score 3 and take the lead. Going over to this series by the Bengals, first we're going to start off with the failed Philly special. I'm not someone who typically gets too all up in arms about individual bad play calls because, listen, there's a lot that goes on in game planning for these teams. Maybe they saw something against the Ravens that made them feel this would work. I don't really know. But as you see, this is not going to work. And not just that, but it's going to actually lose 13 yards. To me, this is kind of, while it's only one play, I do want to bring it up just because it kind of is a microcosm of how I feel about this coaching staff in general and how they view their offense a little bit. This play and the 4th down play. This is the 4th down play, which, as you remember, it's Joe Burrow kind of just ends up trying to flip it. It falls incomplete, kind of a Mahomes type play, but does not work out. To me, this kind of goes back to how I view Zach Taylor and how he views this offense. It's just kind of like, hey, maybe have Joe Burrow throw it to Jamar Chase. You have these great players. Maybe just let them play football. You don't have to overthink it here. I feel like that's what happened on this play. Again, it's 2 plays. I'm not going to kill them for the calls. They didn't work out, but I'm not going to be results-oriented and blame them just because they didn't work out. But it's more of a larger point of, again, I think that they're kind of ignoring the strength of this team. You had the ball at the 1-yard line on a 2nd down and goal. You could have, you put yourself in a bad situation with the Philly special. That's something that things can go wrong. There's the reason why the original Philly special was on a 4th down, right? Because it was either going to work or not work. They didn't care about losing yards on that play. It feels like they overthought it a little bit. That's kind of how I viewed that. But then, something like this, could not be a bigger play, right? 3 minutes and 21 seconds left, a 3rd down and 5. You have all your timeouts, so if you don't get the 1st down on this play or the next play, you're not dead, but let's be honest. Really need this 1st down here. And it kind of goes back to the, hey, maybe just have Joe Burrow throw the ball to Jamar Chase. That's what's going to happen here. It's going to be a one-on-one matchup. And yeah, you're going up against Marlon Humphrey. That's difficult. But you know what? It's a one-on-one matchup with Jamar Chase. You got to just trust that he can win that. Yes, it's Marlon Humphrey, but also, yes, it's Jamar Chase. Give Joe Burrow a chance to hit his favorite target. And that's exactly what happens is Burrow is going to look there. Burrow is going to make a great throw to get it a little behind Chase so he could react to it. He makes the catch. They pick up the 1st down right there. Couple plays later, a Joe Burrow quarterback sneak, and that's what allowed them to take the lead. I thought that they had some good moments, but I also thought that there were some issues really schematically, especially once T. Higgins went down. So let's talk about what went wrong for the Bengals offense. So yeah, that's what I thought. Pretty interesting game, very fun one, but as a whole, the Bengals kind of made too many mistakes. They were able to get that go-ahead drive at the end, but it just was too little too late at that point. So that's kind of what I thought. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.